Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Louise Houghton.
Hello and a warm welcome to our show, which starts off with a new adrenaline-fueled water sport. Here's a look at what's coming up. Water games, dive like a dolphin with a flyboard jetpack. In the bag, Philip Brie launches his own new label. And Winning Sound, the official anthem for the Women's Euro 2013. Well, you might feel like a dolphin on a flyboard, but to those on shore, you'll probably look more like a monster rising from the depths. As you can see behind me, this new equipment gives adrenaline seekers superpowers with the water as a good crash mat, which is, of course, very important for the beginners trying it out on Lake Garda in Italy. After all, the professionals are called professionals for a reason.
Want to be propelled out of water at high speed? Then flyboarding might be for you. Marco Amico is a huge fan. He was one of the first to offer courses in the new sport in Tignale on Lake Garda. When he's using the water jet-powered shoes, the extreme sportsman attracts lots of attention. He's fascinated by the sensation.
When you're 5 meters up in the air, hovering there thanks to the pressure under your feet, you feel strange. You feel like Superman. You feel free. It's like a toy for men who've never grown up.
Today, Marco Amico is conducting so-called superhero training for beginners. Austrian Christian Demmel from Innsbruck has signed up for the course. The flyboarding instructor explains the basic techniques on dry land.
So if I tip forward, I can hold myself up with the supports?
Of course, you can stabilize yourself with the hand jets. But if you can't, then you can always push the hand jets back to the side and dive head first into the water like a dolphin. And then rise out of the water like a dolphin too.
Even in theory, it doesn't sound that easy. After a brief introduction, Christian Demmel takes a leap into cold water.
I'm very excited. I've got no idea what it will be like, but I'll take it as it comes.
Well, he doesn't exactly look like Superman at first, but flying is an art after all. Flyboarding shot to fame after a video showing experts performing incredible stunts went viral. The sport was invented by a Frenchman back in 2011. The first World Championships took place in the Qatari capital Doha last autumn. 50 competitors from 17 countries took part. The first world champion comes from the birthplace of flyboarding, France. Back at Lake Garda, beginner Christian Demmel is already getting the hang of things. He enjoys the heady heights, and he can already pull off the dolphin dive pretty well. For the onlookers on dry ground, it's already got superhero qualities.
It looks a bit like science fiction, doesn't it? Beforehand, the other one, the first one, jumped like that, like a dolphin. We've been thinking a lot about it, but it's a great new sport. Why not?
I don't think it will really take off as a transport because it doesn't appeal to a wide public. It's relatively difficult to buy the equipment and to store it. You have to rent it.
And flyboarding really isn't cheap. A taster course on Lake Garda will set you back around 160 euros. For water sports fan Christian Demmel, that was money well spent.
Das ist Wahnsinn. It's crazy. It's a bit frightening when you're up that high, but if you start to fall, you can slow yourself down. But of course it's tiring because you're so tensed up.
Time for the professional to show what he can do again. Coach Marco Amico, flyboarding superhero.
Well, from all that action, we move on to the German bag label Brie. This family business has been turning out durable, functional and no-frills designs since the 70s. As a boy, Philip Brie modelled the classic leather school backpacks, and in 2006, he took over the family business with his brother. This year, though, he decided to branch out, get a fresh new start and launch a label of his own.
An old catalogue bound in linen and leather, filled with pictures of bags and accessories. The name of the game at Brie is leather. Philip Brie was one of the two heirs to the family-owned business. Last fall, he decided to launch his own label, PB0110.
I'm very pleased with the early response. Last season went very well too. We have some wonderful customers all over the world.
Brie specializes in high-quality leather goods with minimalist designs. Philip's late father, Wolf-Peter Brie, founded the company more than 40 years ago. We're on our way to pay Philip a visit. Leaving the family business to strike out on his own was a big move. He works from home in a small town just outside Hanover. This is where Philip and his small team came up with the new designs. The pieces are made of vegetable tanned leather and linen with brass hardware, all assembled with a careful eye for detail.
I wanted to be able to concentrate, to really focus on a single collection. I've always been fascinated by leather, both during my time at Brie and even as a child, really.
Philip has long been fascinated by leather bags and how they appreciate in value for their owners over the years and decades. Now he's facing a new challenge: how to bring his own personal ideas to his designs after so many years as part of a family operation.
Leather has always been part of the Brie tradition. That's where Brie got its start. So my work comes from a similar place, I'd say. But my work is more focused. I'm certainly not short on ideas.
Philip Brie has no plans to return to his family business, and he doesn't see his own label as competition.
Brie is an established company with more than 40 years behind it. PB0110 is just getting started. And there are so many handbags on the market. We won't get in each other's way.
Brie has an annual turnover of about 50 million euros. That's something Philip Brie's own label can only dream of for now. But he's made a stylish start of it.
Now, oversized, elaborate stage sets, pitch-perfect and powerful voices, and the stunning backdrop of the Alps and Lake Constance. This is what you can expect to find at the Bregenz Festival in Austria. This year marks the 68th season that audiences can sit on the edge of the lake and watch an opera on a warm summer's evening. We chatted to the heads of the artistic team on the day of the season premiere last Wednesday.
Now it's truly summer on Lake Constance. The Bregenz Festival has begun. This year's program includes The Magic Flute by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, one of the world's most widely staged operas. For an entire month, nearly 7,000 listeners will flock to the concert venues each evening. The performances are already sold out. David Pountney of Britain has been the festival's artistic director since 2003. He also directed The Magic Flute.
The basic concept is that we've created a primitive world. It's an island like the ones they used to put on really old maps when they didn't know what was actually there. Back then, they drew imaginary islands populated by exotic animals, monsters, and snakes and the like.
Schlinge und so weiter.
The Magic Flute, set in an archaic world of fairy tales. The idea is echoed in the sets and costumes. Marie Jeanlecke designed the marionettes and costumes.
and we will cut it here, so you won't have anything here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Leka has been designing costumes for the Bregenz Festival since 1999.
It's not an easy piece to do, and also it's very challenging to do it here out on the lake. I was thinking about it this morning. In fact, the magic flute a bit is like if we would be doing a Shakespeare on the lake, you know, if I would translate it in English terms. It's such a known piece. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it by heart.
Papageno, the bird catcher, is one of the central characters.
From a technical point of view, you have to think, yes, you're outdoors, so you have to think there's rain, there's wind, things have to be more resistant. Like on the birds, for instance, we had to really work with a net, something transparent where the air goes through so they wouldn't be taken off by the wind. So you have to think of all this stuff. Suddenly there are all these elements you have to consider. Ja, sehr zufrieden. Das ist sehr gut.
Time to give another lead character in the magic flute one last fitting. Nice. The Queen of the Night in one of her costumes.
Okay. Here we go.
Beautiful.
Fantastic. The singing and the stage design, just great. Magical.
The final duet by Papageno and Papagena. And don't worry if you didn't manage to get a ticket. The magic flute will be back on the floating stage in Bregenz again next year.
And we continue on a musical note with the latest project from award-winning German multimedia artist and designer Joachim Sauter. He's teamed up with the Icelandic composer Olafur Arnalds to create a special exhibition at Berlin's Maid Gallery called Symphony Kinetic. It features Sauter's large-scale kinetic sculptures in a choreography that fuses light, sound and motion in space.
Golden triangles that float almost weightlessly in space. They're the heart of the Symphonie Cinétique exhibition at the Maid Gallery in Berlin. The kinetic sculpture moves like a marionette in 6-minute sequences. The curved aluminium strips on this sculpture project an interplay of light and shadow onto the wall.
I like this combination of light and music and the way it affects me.
The 3 or 4 minutes these triangles dance with each other, it's fabulous.
It's incredible that you can move analog objects this way like an organic animal. It's amazing.
Joachim Sauter is the creative force behind the kinetic sculptures. At his agency Art & Com, the computer is the most important tool. The Berlin exhibition features some of his best installations.
The pieces on display in the exhibition are all prototypes of installations on show around the world. Because they're large and difficult to move, you can't get them all in one place. So we said we'd make prototypes and put them in one space.
Some of the originals have won awards, like this commissioned work for BMW. It earned Art & Com the German government's Design Award in 2010. In 2012, the media artists developed the idea further. At Singapore Airport, 1,200 copper teardrop shapes combined to form an aeroplane. For the exhibition in Berlin, Joachim Sauter has collaborated with a composer for the first time. Icelandic musician Olafur Arnalds wrote a symphony to accompany the sculpture's movements.
One piece is this piano line and another piece can be this string melody. And individually they work because they're both characters, but together they dance together and together they become the symphony.
The exhibition marks the 25th anniversary of Art & Com's founding. With the rise of the internet, the agency has implemented a number of virtual projects. Now they're taking a more tangible approach.
The more we find ourselves in this virtual world, the more there's a need to come together in the real world, for instance, in a museum, and to experience information or entertainment together.
Joachim Sauter is already planning the next installation, which will be in Washington. Up to 50 employees help realise the large-scale projects, such as this mirrored wall for the 2010 World Expo in Shanghai. As varied as the projects are, they all fascinate and enchant viewers.
The Women's Euro 2013 kicked off in Gothenburg, Sweden last week, and supporters from all over Europe are there to cheer on their nation. The tournament theme song is designed to keep the fans and players' spirits high, and the young man behind the anthem is Swedish pop star Eric Saade.
Swedish singer Eric Saade wrote the official theme song for the Women's Euro 2013. Winning Ground is a tribute to women's soccer.
It's like an orchestral sound, and it's like I should say like a mix between Coldplay and me, I guess. That's not actually my sound, really.
The song was commissioned by UEFA. It was very much a labour of love for the Swedish singer.
Wow, well, for somebody who's never done it, you look like you did it all your life.
I've been playing football since I was a kid, so I love football. I'm always following it, and it's like an honor to do this song for the Euro Cup, so I'm really happy about it.
Saade's latest single, Coming Home, is a big hit in his native Sweden. August sees the release of the 22-year-old's fourth studio album.
It's gonna be more me. I've been writing a long time, and it's gonna be more personal and more organic from the instruments, and a little bit more rhythm too.
After featuring in a boy band, Saade launched his solo career in 2009 with the single Sleepless. A year later, he entered the Swedish qualifiers for the Eurovision Song Contest. He finished in third place, but his song Man Boy went on to top the Swedish singles charts. In 2011, he made it into the finals of Eurovision. The song Popular won him third place. It was one of many highlights in his still young career.
I enjoy it every day. I'm so grateful to everything, so I can't like pick out one moment, but I'm just really grateful I got the audience that I got, because it's a big audience.
Back home, he now plays to capacity crowds at major venues. The teen heartthrob's second and third albums likewise made it to #1 in the Swedish charts. But he has his sights set higher.
I want to spread my music as far as I can. I mean, right now I'm in Scandinavia, but I want to have a breakthrough in more countries. I want to come to Germany. I want to explore England and maybe the States one day, so we'll see.
Meanwhile, his official soccer anthem is bound to win him some new fans across the world. So who's he cheering on at the tournament?
That's a dumb question, because I'm gonna answer Sweden, of course.
Which team will be left on winning ground when the final is played out in Stockholm? We'll have to wait until July the 28th to find out.
Now, when you think of street art, there is no doubt that spray cans and graffiti comes to mind. But Mademoiselle Maurice from Paris is trying to defy the stigma associated with this art form and create a bright and playful approach to painting the streets. This young artist uses the traditional Japanese method of origami in her designs, and she's making her mark on streets all over the world.
Folded paper shapes on an old wall in Paris. The transient artwork is called éphémère, ephemeral. The French artist, who goes by the name of Mademoiselle Maurice, says public spaces are perfect for showing her works.
They're the best means of expression and of reaching many people. I can make the city, which is so grey with its buildings and concrete, a bit more colourful.
The artist has been working with origami installations for more than 2 years now. In addition to her native France, she's also exhibited her work in many other countries. For example, Hong Kong, Vietnam, and Japan, where she also lived for a year.
Actually, it all started when I was in Japan, because you find and see origami everywhere there. It's also an art form that comes from there. In Japan, there's a legend that a wish will come true if you make 1,000 origami cranes.
Origami is the art of folding paper. Mademoiselle Maurice does her folding in her small Paris studio. The 29-year-old taught herself the technique using a book. She uses 5 different designs. The bird, the crane, the wind, the boat, and the flower are origami classics.
I usually need about 800 to 1,500 pieces for an installation. It depends on the size of the surface.
After finishing her studies, Mademoiselle Maurice worked as an architect, but soon felt creatively stifled, so she set out to find her own artistic style. She started by photographing people and objects with a fisheye lens. She went on to experimenting with thread. Her first work of street art was made of ribbons. And then she invented another form of street art using origami. The fleeting nature of her work is intentional.
I want to make installations that are ephemeral. They reflect human existence, which is also fleeting. And that fact is something that keeps me from taking my work too seriously. And I can reuse the pieces from one installation to another.
The first major retrospective of her work is currently on show in Rabelais-sur-Léon in western France. More than 40 artworks are on display in a 120-square-meter gallery. Among them are portraits made from recycled paper. The artist says she wants her work to encourage people to take a closer look at the environment. This glass sculpture explores the subject of deforestation.
I was very, very happy and honored to be able to exhibit my work in such a large space. It gave me the feeling I could express myself without limits.
She's already working on a new installation in Paris. The heart is dedicated to her grandmother, who always supported her. Passers-by often engage her in conversation as she works. Their reactions motivate her.
Yes, positive emotions are very important to me. It pleases me to touch people in a positive way and make them smile.
Un sourire que je vais pouvoir les toucher après plus loin.
Mademoiselle Maurice will soon be hitting the road again. Her next project is an installation in Singapore.
And that brings us to the end of another Euromaxx Highlights show. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye for now.